Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being part of the show. How's everybody doing? Guys, man, I am telling you, I'm still pushing this stuff out. We had slight power fails here. We have thunderstorms going like crazy. It has it has been difficult, but anyhow, how are my peeps doing? I trust that you had a good Memorial Day. I hope that you celebrated our heroes as we should. I hope that was done. Well, I'm pretty sure many of you have done it either in person, in spirit, or otherwise, even with your picnics, enjoying the hot temperatures, etc. I'm pretty sure of that. Anyhow, folks, we are going to have a great show for you today. As we go, I do have a generator, 17.5 kVA. Generator. So, but I'm more concerned about not what's happening today, but what is likely to happen because of climate change and how things are devolving into some crazy issue. Bruce says it's all quiet for the moment here. Anyway, welcome aboard. Bruce Pollard is in the house from Kingwood, Texas. Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York, in upstate New York. We also have Carl Cox in from Georgia. No, oh boy, why did I always get that wrong? Carl Cox from Georgia, yeah. We also have Eric Hayes from Atascocita, Kingwood. May Wood from Long Beach, California. We also have E2247 from all over. Eric, where else have we got here? We've got Lee Grant from Montgomery County, and we have got Bridge MCP already. Now, I started the chat late, so I missed some of them here. So let's see if I can go to the other screen to pick up the rest, because I want to make sure to salute everybody that is here. So, folks, bear with me as I do my search to make sure that I give folks their appropriate salute or welcome. It looks like I can't do that in real time. I thought I should be able to change the way I read my messaging in real time. Anyhow, I think I see Brother Rudnan in there, but I don't see his message. Like I said, I started up a bit late, and I am trying to get to those other commentaries, but I don't seem to be able to. So we'll see if I can find a way to do it. All right, let's see. I found another screen that seems to allow me to do that as well. Para ver qué voy a hacer así con esta vaina. Oh, come on. Let's see. Let's go here. That's not it. That's not it. Okay. And that's not it either. Okay, folks, we're coming down into it. All right. I'll have to leave it there. Anybody who sent me Egberto, repeat in military times. I think you're repeating down before. Michael Rodden says, Egberto, repeating from military times. Thanks for putting it out there again. It says, U.S. built temporary piers that had been used to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza was damaged by rough seas and has temporarily suspended operations. Before the weather damage and suspension, the pier had begun to pick up steam, and as of Friday, more than 820 metric tons of food aid had been delivered from the sea on to Gaza Beach via pier. U.S. officials have repeatedly emphasized that the pier cannot provide the amount of aid that starving Gazans need. And stressed that more checkpoints for humanitarian trucks needed to be open at maximum capacity. The pier would bring food for 500,000 of Gaza's people. U.S. officials stressed the need for open land crossings for the remaining 1.8 million. The U.S. has also planned to continue to provide aid to food corps. Again, all of this is showing the genocide that Israel is effecting on Gaza right now. And you know what? A renowned Jewish scholar who survived the Holocaust was concerned for the longest time about calling what's occurring in Israel a genocide. And he finally came out on Fareed Zakaria this week and told Fareed, and Fareed was really trying to get him to backtrack. He came out and he said, no, this is a Holocaust survivor, scholar, who said, no, what Israel is doing in Gaza right now is effectively a genocide. No ifs, no buts, but a genocide. So, folks, we ought to refer to these things the way they really are, a genocide. All right, let's see what we got here. E2247 says, and we at this point we're going to talk about Israel. Day 235 since 7 October 2023. At least 36,096 Palestinians killed, 296 persons per day, 231, plus at least 81,136 wounded, 1,125 persons more than day 231, equal 117,232 casualties. 117,232 casualties is equal 499 per day of estimated 5,385,12 of a West Bank and Gaza Palestinian population with 356,000 or 96 Palestinians killed, equal 155 per day killed. 38% are kids and women. Okay? Let's see. British MCP says 17.5. Mine is 9,000. What's the difference? 17.5 what? It's 17.5 K. KVA. That's kilovolts amps. I mean, that definition of that would kind of sound like wattage, but there's a few kind of differences there. But in effect, it should be able to power my home with one air condition running. So we'll see. But I am very concerned about what's occurring in Texas. The Gulf of Mexico is ridiculously hot. Climate change is real. The deniers continue to allow the petrochemical companies to cook us, to take us closer and closer over the edge. And again, the funny thing about it is we can't wait for those people to see the light, because by then it's too late. We just have to overpower them, run over them, and do what we know is right, period. We have to show them some love, but we got to do what's right. For those who can't understand that, I am sorry. We have work to do. We have a lot of work to do, period. Let them eat tweets. How the right rules in an age of extreme inequality by Jacob S. Herrick. Oh, that's an interesting thing, Bridge. Let's see. What did Bridge say about that? Danito in city today. Yes, I heard about Danito being in the city today. What else have we got here? I'm rolling down. Scrolling down. Eric Hayes says, wait till hurricanes come. We have so much sand in the river that it is blocked up. And you don't want regulations, right? Eric, you know why there are a lot of sand in the river right now? Because all those private companies digging for sand, when we have the floods and they go ahead and they move the sand out of the private pits and put it into the river. Then they ask us, the American taxpayer, to dredge the river. And by the way, that actually means that is socialism for the private companies whose sand is in the river, because they're digging up sand all along the San Jacinto River. And then when it creates the damage, we, the people, pay the price. That is what you get with lax regulations. When we talk about the need for regulations, that is what we're talking about. That's a perfect example. You bring up sand in the river, true, but who did it? The private sector. All right, let's continue. London says E22, that looks like an interesting red book. Book summary, yeah, it is an interesting book that probably bears mention. All right, what else have we got here? What else? Egberto, please read this out for Eric. NPR, according to the U.S. Central Command, American and Jordanian forces dropped some 38,000 meals with parachutes along Gaza coastline on Saturday. Compare that with the needs. More than 2 million people live in the Gaza Strip, and according to the UN, a quarter of them face imminent starvation. And henceforth, the Holocaust survivor said that what Netanyahu is doing by keeping these things closed is nothing more than genocide. Again, I repeat, genocide. All right, Bridge MCP said, Egberto, okay, yeah, amps. Mine is 9,000 watts. Yeah, what you do is you can divide 9, and it's RMS, so you have to be careful in the calculation. But if you divide 9,000 watts by 110 volts, which is a standard voltage that we have in these places, that will tell you approximately how many amps you can actually get out of your generator, right? So kVA, I mean VA is equal to amperage. Okay, let's continue now. Para ver. Eric Hayes says sand mining next to the river levee broke, and it's the lax government enforcement. No, it's a private sector who screwed up, and the lax government regulation is because the folks who or the folks, conservatives in this state, don't want a lot of regulations. All they talk about, get rid of regulations. We're too regulated. Now we see why regulation is important. And now you want to say, oh, the government was lax with the regulations. You guys just go from one end to the next. Be consistent. Be consistent. All right, U.S. lied all the way from Gulf of Tonkin through Grenada, Panama, Iran twice, all the way into Israel. Pier is damaged. Yep. Airdrops are more pointed and can get in. You can't feed without a massive airdrop like we had during the Berlin Wall closure. You couldn't feed enough for what we're doing. You could not feed enough Gazans. So let's wake up and smell the coffee. Can you use two hookups on one system, gas generator, 6 or 500 in the second natural gas generator with another hookup? What you do, it all depends, right? When I built this house from scratch, and I knew I was going to have a whole lot of computer equipment at the time. I never knew about the cloud then. So I did have two circuits. My generator, my 17 kVA also has two circuits. So I can put a part of the house on one circuit and another part of the house on another circuit when I remove them both from the grid. So what I do to get my generator going, I have a gasoline generator, folks. A gasoline generator. Why? I don't trust natural gas to be available if we have a severe hurricane. Let me give an example. Everybody here in Kingwood, anytime there's a thunderstorm or something, everybody's generator works just fine. You hear around me all those Generacs going off, and they work perfectly. The power goes off. The generator takes about 15, 20, 30 seconds. It comes on, and the house stays with power. Okay? And that's great. But all we have to have is one of the gas lines off the San Jac East Fork get popped by a big log coming through, or the flood creates a leak or whatever, and you're just again back on the utility system. So my brother-in-law was in town, and I love my brother-in-law and my sister. They came and they helped us with this house, fix up a whole lot of stuff on the house that was just neglected because Linda was sick. I was away for a year with Ashley, and coming back, things are just behind. I mean, and she came into town. My sister and my brother-in-law came into town, and they really helped us. When we had foundation problems, where we got the foundation fixed, but there's some parts of the foyer that needed to be reblocked and retiled. And he came over and he retiled. I mean, I have great folks around. Great folks around. But my PDR posse, my sisters, my family, great folks are all around, understanding what we're doing. Anyhow, folks. So as it turns out, what I did is I got that 17 kVA generator bridge, and I have about multiply 5 by, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I keep about 30 to 40 gallons of gasoline in storage, right? And in my garage with the appropriate gasoline protector, to prevent it from caking up, etc. And my expectation is that I need to go power up the generator and make sure that it's running well. But the expectation is that I can go ahead and have gasoline, and that 30 gallons of gas should last me, 2-3 days, if not more. And that gives me the opportunity during a flood or stoppage to roam around the entire state to find more gasoline to keep things going, in my humble opinion. But the thing about it is to be connected or completely disconnected to the grid if I had to be, Eric. That was my goal. And I think we accomplished that. It's what we did during the first flood. Bridge MCP says, Egberto, use ethanol free. Oh, why is that now? All right, natural gas, expensive thinking of having two generators, 65K gas and 13 kW tri-gas generator, 26K natural gas. One costs 13 to 20K in cost. That's kind of expensive. Here's the interesting thing. I bought my 17K 500. Oh, I got you, Bridge. I got my, but I do have a stabilizer in the gasoline, Bridge MCP. I got my, at the time, I have it now for probably, I don't know, over 10 years, the same 17.5 kVA generator. I've never had to use it since a major hurricane. But I only paid about under $3,000 with shipping for that generator that I have. Now, you're talking about getting 13 and 65 and 265s. Now, tying them together, I think you're going to have to split circuits with that because you're going to get into a phase issue. If you try to feed several circuits, in other words, if you try to tie those guys in parallel, you're going to get into a phase issue. You don't have the equipment to do that. Sinusoidal waves for electricity, sinusoidal wave when you have alternating current. What you're going to get if you try to feed them is you could get a signal where they're out of phase. And there's more than likely they're going to be out of phase periodically because even one generator does not stay in perfect sinusoidal phase. So you don't want to do that. If you're going to have separate generators, what you want to do is make sure your circuits are separated. My house was built with two groups of circuits, so it's easily done with my house. But most homes, they only have one tie to the grid, and trying to separate circuits, you need to have a control switch. I think they call it you notice Bree said that she has to switch manually, but she already has a switch that has all of that machination in it. So be careful, Eric. It may be just best to buy a large, let's say, may need to just use small one off the side and the big one tie in. Exactly. That would work, Eric. That would work. In other words, let's say you want to get the refrigerator, confirming 24 kW costs on install 12 to 13K is what Norman Reynolds says. Norman, I got mine. Again, it's a gasoline Generac on that rack. The one that you see in my garage all the time, I got that for under $3,000. And I should look it up just to show you that I'm not dreaming or, misremembering. Let's see. Generac. Let's see if I can do a quick document search on that and whether I'll find it. Maybe not. Yeah, I got between 30 and 40 gallons of gas, Eric. And that's important that you keep that. Now, I went ahead and put the stabilizer in the gas because, the gas has a tendency to cake up. Let's say my 9,000 watt was 825. Does well for me, summer and winter. Furnace is propane, so it goes on central air. There you go. That is slick. So yeah, Eric, don't pay too much for those standalone gasoline thing. Now, when Norman says a standalone 24 kW installed is 12 to 13K, I have a hunch that is way too much. Hey, we're a political show talking about generators. Amazing, but we need to talk about what people need to list. Mine is natural gas with a transfer switch. The transfer switch is, again, yours is automatic as well, right, Norman? When it goes off, if your solar panels isn't given power, it goes directly to the generator, but they don't work concurrently, correct? I'm pretty sure they don't. Install 13 to 20,000 cash. Yeah, no, I think that's way too much. I honestly think that is too much. Let me see what a Generac gasoline goes for. Let's see. Generac gasoline generator. Let's see. I want to see. Oh wow, they've changed in price. Well, here's the deal, guys. You can get a Generac generator, the 6500 for five. There you go. The Generac similar to mine, 6500 is 549, $549. But if you go above that, and let me see what the others are, see if they have that listed. I'll show you what I have. I'm going to put this on the screen for you guys to see. And guys, we're doing this because it's a hurricane season for a lot of people who are watching the show right now. And I think this is informative. Like I always tell people, you guys control this show. And because you control the show, since there are a lot of folks worried about generators and what's going on with the weather here, this is a Generac. This is exactly how mine's are similar to how mine looks. Okay. And that one is $549 for 6,500. Let's see what they have the one that I am selling for now. Because I think, let's see, 17.5K gasoline generator. Let's see what comes out of that one. All right, yeah. So it is about what the cost is comparable to what I'm doing right now. You can get those generators. Take a look. These are gasoline. Okay, look at that one. You can get the 1300 watt for $16.99. You can get the let's see, what else have we got here? Yeah, so don't let them rip you off with these generators. First of all, don't buy it near the storm. Get it now if you're going to get one. But you can it's important, as right now we have lost power for the last hour and continue. Exactly, Reynolds. Lee Grant says, my 24K W Generac was about 10K 3 years ago. It has become essential in Southeast Texas climate. Yeah, and what I'm saying, you probably went ahead and got them to install the Generac one with the natural gas and all of that. That markup is ridiculously high. Like if you see on the screen right now, we have all these fairly large generators at a very, very good cost. And this one is a Westinghouse. 13,500. Well, it's actually a 10.5 with a surge of 13,500, which gives it a 50 amp when you do all your calculations. But what I want to see, 17. Let's see if I can find a 17,500 watt kVA and see what that looks like. Let's see if we can get one. Now we're talk about those expensive home ones. That's not. Yeah. But anyway, folks, just take a look. Go to Generac and see the gasoline ones that they have. And I have nothing to do with Generac, so I'm just letting you know. It's just the one that I bought for my home, and it's a standalone unit. Anyhow, let's get to the program right now. What else do we have? What else have we got here? Para ver. All right, let's get back to the topic. Michael Rodis says, let's see, scrolling down. Ethanol free. I'm with you guys. Catch you next time. Michael Ruddin got tired of talking about generators. All right, Marxist Biden says the government should install solar panels on every home free of charge. That is what a government should do. I agree with that wholeheartedly, Marxist for Biden. If we really cared about the environment, we could have a Marshall Plan that goes ahead and turn every single roof into a power generation station. And then after the government makes that initial investment, it could, if they want to start calling, socialism, turn over the management of those solar panels right to any company that's willing to do it efficiently. But I would create a new government agency called the Solar Panel Agency, whose job is to put all solar panels onto every home in America out of the general fund. And let me tell you what that'll do. People would start to say, well, if you start putting panels on every home, then what happens is the price of solar panels go up. No, that is capitalism. If you have the government put every home on a solar panel and then recover the monies for those panels by, okay, and Eric says, no thanks, don't want them on my roof. That's fine. For everybody who wants panels on their roofs, the government can put panels on their roofs. And then the government can manage the energy. In other words, go ahead and either the people get, as an incentive, they can start by making sure everybody gets, that have their panels, that, they're saving the country. So they get their energy for free. Watch how quickly Eric Hayes would jump onto the bandwagon and say, I want panels now. So here's the deal. Those are governmental policies that we can implement. Our wind turbines installed a year and a half ago has saved me my electric by $45 a month. How big is your wind turbine? I wonder if I could actually get away. And how do you connect it to your system? Let's get an American manufacturer, not China. I really don't care. Leslie Norman says, I would expect a better deal would be to manage power generation and storage in a network. Look, we could have a Marshall Plan that says every home has panels, excess energy go onto the grid, or either that or the panels coming into the homes has storage. I think we would run into some supply issues initially, but we can ramp up to that. We could, if we have shortages, we could have a lottery system in which the way these panels are distributed. There are a lot of ways that we could ingeniously do this, but we have to do it as a country who wants to move forward. They put up like 45 or more. New York State Energy runs it. Oh, so it actually comes over the grid. I got it. Here in Texas, about 45 miles from me or a little bit more, there is a new wind farm. Texas is a state that produces, in as much as we're the oil state, Texas produces more wind energy than any other state in the country. All right, Tom Sarnick says a feedback loop, how air conditioner creates a climate conundrum. Audubon, the more we run AC, the more electricity we use. More electricity releases more greenhouse gases, heating the planet and requiring even more AC to keep cool. But again, imagine if every home had solar panels. It would then be just a transfer of energy that normally a lot of it would have been creating heat to create electricity. It still create heat, but some of that is converted to electricity to do the cooling. No greenhouse gases. Eventually, the greenhouse gases are mitigated by what? Plants, the ocean, and much more. And we can start going back to some level of CO2 normalcy. That's a thought, but that's a good one. Anyway, folks, let me go ahead and start with, let's see what Governor Walz had to say about about what the President Biden needs to do, maybe to win. Well, we know he's going to win, but maybe to win a bit more comfortably. Let's go ahead and play that. Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota nails it. First of all, he tackles exactly what Brother Biden has done, President Biden has done. He also points out that he lives in an area surrounded by missing decency. I want you to listen to how he expressed that, and let's take it on the other side.
when Donald Trump was president, governors like myself were in Hunger Game battles with other governors to get ventilators to keep our people alive because he did nothing. The issue is going to be competency. When Joe Biden comes to Minnesota, he brings jobs, money, investments, and a positive message. When Donald Trump comes, it's grievances and revenge. So I think the issues will start to clarify themselves. Voters are concerned this time of year. School's about out. They're worrying about summer. But we're starting to see prices start to moderate. We're seeing inflationary pressures go down. And then we can start to focus on those real issues that impact folks. So I think the message is going to be very personal. An ability to deliver this. That's why I'm out there. And then I think that contrast becomes a binary choice as we get closer to November. And they're going to see that it is simply not worth it to go back to what we saw under a Trump administration.
If the president called you and said, Governor, what's the one thing you think I need to hit home and hit hard more than anything to help my reelection chances? What would it be? What do you think he should do that he's not doing?
Yeah, I think it's holistic. I do think we're making the case around reproductive freedoms. I think we're making the case around election and protection reforms. But I think I saw the polling this week that where Americans, a majority think we're in recession. We're not. We have the strongest economy in the world. I think we have to do a better job, and I think the president's doing all he can. And this is where folks like myself can help. Minnesota has historically low unemployment rates. Minnesota has wages rising. Minnesota is seeing investments in chip manufacturing, in construction jobs. We need to keep pounding that message home.
I want to ask about something that the nominee for your party back in 2016, Hillary Clinton, told the New York Times, Lisa Lair and Elizabeth Diaz for their new book. And this is on the issue of abortion. Mrs. Clinton said Democrats neglected abortion rights from the ballot box to Congress to the Supreme Court. Our side was complacent and kind of taking it for granted and thinking it would never go away. Do you agree with that?
I don't think she's totally wrong. Look, I ran in a conservative district, second Democrat since 1892 when I won a seat in Congress, and I was fully supportive of abortion rights. And this is back in 2005, 2006. That was by a lot of people in our party. I think what the former secretary is getting at is that we maybe didn't understand the threat that was coming, that we thought that Roe was going to protect us. I think there were a lot of us, myself included, didn't believe that. I think that's why states like Minnesota were firewalling things up. We're an island of decency out here. It's Handmaid's Tale out here of the states surrounding me, from the Dakotas to Iowa, forcing women into these terrible situations. So no, I don't totally disagree with her. I think the difference is now, since the fall of Roe, orchestrated by Donald Trump and his Supreme Court, that we are ready, and women are ready, men are ready, and those who think that this is just a distracting issue, this is a fundamental issue of personal freedoms and personal bodily autonomy. So she's not wrong. I think the difference is now is we will not be flat-footed, and I don't think we have been for the last 2 years.
Governor Tim Walz nails it. Yes, Minnesota is currently in an island. What he calls an island of indecency. A group of folks that want to control women. A group of folks that want to find policies that materially affects people in the wrong ways. He nails it. And yes, as long as the surrogates for the president go out and fight for the values that he stands for, all will be okay.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message. A message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota nails it. Absolutely join, my brothers and my sisters. All right. British MCC, Biden needs to go to rural places. I agree 100%. In fact, rural places would be echo in the video. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. We need to... Biden needs to definitely go to The rural areas. The rural areas are some of the areas that the Republican Party has really screwed over. Unfortunately, they have them seen through colored glasses. But again, there's a lot of work to be done, and it can be done. Paul Fleming says, time will tell now, won't it? In clearest comment yet. Tim Cott says he would certainly vote to certify election results. Biden needs to go to rural places. Yes. Mike Cisak says we are in recession, but like leftists do, they have redefined it. No, I don't think so. Recession is so. I think it's 2 or 3 quarters of declining GDP or of GDP, negative GDP. We haven't had negative GDP. Of course, I don't know. Maybe the information that you're reading is. Am I echoing right now, folks? Echoing right now. Okay. I'm sorry about that. What else have we got? Biden needs to show people what Trump is, a narcissist whiner, no issues at all complaining. Exactly. Mike Cisak says, Paul Fleming, doubtful, as most people just didn't like Clinton. They saw her as corrupt. Eric Hayes says, if Mr. V goes to rural places, he would be booed off stage. I think he should take the booze. Okay. Paul Fleming breaking. NASDAQ closes above 17,000 for the first time, a record high. Dow and S&P hover around record highs. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. But guess what? We're in recession. That is what Brother Cisak is saying. We are in recession. I don't think so. Look, Trump is a clear and present danger. And unfortunately, the media doesn't get it yet. First, let's recall something that dropped recently, and then we'll be right back. If anyone doubts former President Donald Trump's dictatorial aspirations, we just have to look at how they're changing the narrative and making the plausibility of a Nazi-style state a possibility, so that when they throw it onto you, it's not so much of a shock anymore. When they talk about Unified Reich, understand what they're saying. They're serious about it. The former president is serious about it. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side.
Shared a video about how they seem to think the United States will change if Trump is elected president again. There's, of course, nothing abnormal there necessarily. Political candidates talk about their visions for the country all the time. They're running for office. That's the point. What is not normal is that this video referenced a quote unquote Unified Reich. Reich is a German word that basically means empire, but it, of course, evokes the Third Reich, used to refer to Adolf Hitler's Nazi Germany. We're going to show you that video. It's going to sound a little strange. We edited it to freeze and zoom in on the terms so that you can easily spot it. So you'll hear this video start, and then when the sound stops, you'll be able to see what we're talking about. Watch this.
What happens after Donald Trump wins? What's next for America? The economy.
So there you go. It's pushing in on, it says there, you can see the phrase, quote, industrial strength significantly increased and driven by the creation of a unified Reich. So the Trump campaign spokesman, Carolyn Levitt, telling CNN, the video was not created by the campaign and was reposted by a staffer who didn't see the word. Kate Bedingfield, that's a way to put it. The Biden campaign said this, quote, Donald Trump is not playing games. He is telling America exactly what he intends to do if he regains power, rule as a dictator over a unified Reich. The AP says at least one of the headlines flashing appears to be text copied verbatim from a Wikipedia entry on World War I. Quote, German industrial strength and production had significantly increased after 1871, driven by the creation of a unified Reich. But this language is quite specific.
Yeah. Well, look, the problem here is this comes in the context of other things that Donald Trump has said along these lines.
So, folks, we don't have any excuse. The guy has consistently told us what he's all about, and he's slick about it because he wants to constantly tell us these things, have people vote for him, even as he says these things, so that when he does it, it doesn't seem like a shocker and it's more easily done. It's almost the same technique used by many types of medical procedures where you get, or type drug-induced procedures where you constantly give the patient a little bit of this toxin, each time a little bit more, so that they develop a resistance to it. Or that proverbial frog in warm water, you raise the water so slightly that by the time the frog knows it's in trouble, it's have already started to cook. Now, some people say that's not a real thing, but it is in humanity. When things are very gradual and changing, over time, this change is huge, and we notice it from point A to point B. But on the ascent from point A to point B, if it is shallow and long, one doesn't quite see it. That's why the corruption that Trump has done to the morals of his people, the people who follow him, it doesn't seem so strange to them, because it was a slow ramp since before 2015, a slow ramp of this evil decadence that we're talking about. So, folks, beware. It is time for us to take the mantra and move forward, expose this guy for who he is, and make sure he's never, ever coming close to being in that White House again. Absolutely. We have to make sure this guy doesn't come close to being in the White House again. And you know what, guys? It is something that not something that we want to do. It's something that we must do by all means necessary. Don't think that we can sit back here. We have got to be proactive, and that's one of the reasons there's a particular article that I want to make sure everybody is talking about. Everybody reads. It's very, very, very important. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm queuing this baby up right now. Bear with me as I speak, because what I want to do is actually, I'm in the wrong place here. Let's get up in here. Let me do something. Bear with me, folks. I'm getting this all together here. I want to find the article to make sure that everybody gets a chance to see it on the screen. Do I move it over here? It's from The Intercept. And here is the article on The Intercept. And it starts, the media still doesn't grasp the danger of Donald Trump. Okay, they still don't grasp it. And here's how the article starts. Donald Trump represents an existential threat to democracy in the United States. If he's elected president, he will try to become a dictator. That warning must be repeated over and over again, so Americans don't forget it in November. But that's not the daily news that you will read or hear in the American press today. Instead, it's mostly coverage of polls favorable to Donald Trump and cute scene setting stories about the carnival-like atmosphere at its crazed rallies, where his massive cult following is on display. The daily coverage ignores the 5-alarm fire burning up the 2024 election. The mainstream political press is effectively ignoring the coming national apocalypse. How can that be? How can they once again screw up covering Trump? After all, Trump isn't hiding his lust for dictatorial power. He admits it publicly. In December, when his Fox lackey, Sean Hannity, gave him an opportunity to dispel fears that he wanted dictatorial power, Trump instead offered a rare truth. Under no circumstances you were promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody, Hannity asked. Except for day one, Trump replied. In other words, I'll become a dictator on day one. And after you become a dictator on day one, what happens on day two? I mean, he says this stuff out loud. Trump is planning a second term that is nothing more than a revenge tour, deploy the Insurrection Act to crush dissent, turn the Justice Department into a personal weapon to imprison a government official who previously investigated or prosecuted him, persecute former aides who turned against him, pardon himself as his lieutenants, and loot the government to enrich himself and his flailing business. In case anybody has missed his autocratic plans, Trump promoted a video this week about the creation of a unified Reich, which we just showed you. Even this social media call out to Hitler generated a generally tepid response from a press, like one from an ABC reporter who only dared to say that it was not normal for presidential candidates to share references to Nazi Germany and Adolf Hitler. Oh my God. Trump is a fascist, but the mainstream political press doesn't want to say it. They want to act like 2024 is just another election. With their obsession with the horse race coverage, political reporters tend to judge what Trump says or does by whether his words and actions will help him politically. By doing so, the press is saying that Trump's racism, corruption, criminality, and insane abuses of power matter only so far as his electability. There are exceptions. Major news organizations, including the New York Times and Washington Post, have done some important stories about Trump's dictatorial plan for a second term, but those investigative stories are drowned out by the chorus of horse race stories, sometimes published on the same days and by the same news organizations behind more substantial coverage. The media is sleepwalking. I've often wondered how the press, both in Germany and around the world, failed to see Hitler for the monster that he was before he gained power. After Trump, I think I understand. Hitler took advantage of the incremental nature of daily journalism. For the years, his rise in Germany was not taken seriously in the United States, and that period of American inattention and isolationism enabled Hitler to become a much greater global threat. The American press played a significant and ugly role in downplaying the threat Hitler posed to the Western world. American journalists initially viewed Hitler as a little more than a German version of Italian fascist dictator Benito Mussolini, who they saw as a blustering demagogue, yet also a leader who had helped save Italy from economic chaos of the post-World War era, World War I era. The New York Times credited Mussolini with returning turbulent Italy to what it's called normalcy, according to the study of the press coverage of Hitler and Mussolini in the Smithsonian magazine in 2016. When Hitler first burst into German political life, the American press sought to downplay his importance by treating him as a joke. The Smithsonian notes how Newsweek called him a nonsensical screecher of wild words, and that his appearance suggested Charlie Chaplin. Over time, American journalists' views of Hitler began to shift, but mostly just to show greater respect for his skills as a charismatic public speaker and a successful demagogue. Doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound familiar? Bree says, so funny how the people on the right turn the dictator into Biden because they are told that. Projection, exactly. Tell me again, what states have the higher infant mortality rates? Most religious states in America, with the percentage of each state population as Christian. 1, Mississippi, 85% Christian. 2, Alabama, 85% Christian. 3, Tennessee, 81% Christian. 4, Louisiana, 84% Christian. 5, Arkansas, 79% Christian. 6, South Carolina, 79% Christian. 7, West Virginia, 78% Christian. 8, Georgia, 79% Christian. 9, Oklahoma, 79% Christian. And 10, North Carolina, 79% Christian. You know, I told somebody today, when we were talking about things like the states that have the most abortions and the most killings, etc., and also the people who committed the most atrocities against kids were these religious states or, in fact, these religious institutions. It was a shocker for her. All right, let's see. Global warming for frogs, according to Bruce Pollard. All right. The 10 dumbest states based on 1, high school graduation rates, and 2, college graduation rates. 3, standardized test scores. 4, educational attainment percentages of residents with a high school diploma. 5, spending on education. 6, quality of schools. 1, the dumbest, Mississippi. 2, West Virginia. 3, Louisiana. 4, Arkansas. 5, Alabama. 6, New Mexico. 7, Nevada. 8, Kentucky. 9, Oklahoma. 10, South Carolina. So out of 10, we have 2 blue states, New Mexico and Nevada. All the rest are red states. Ha! Sadly. Bridge MCP says Egberto Willies, fascism. Fascism is a far-right authoritarian, ultra-nationalist political ideology and movement characterized by dictatorial leaders, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcibly suppression of opposition, belief in a natural social hierarchy, subordination of individual interests for the perceived people. Yep. So got that there. Let's see what else we have. No MCP can, let's see, Max Q. You're not going to be a dictator, are you? Trump said, no. Other than day one, we're closing the border. So he said he was going to be a dictator. If you ask, did Trump ever say he would be a dictator? The answer is yes. That's not a lie. That's a factual statement. And you just wrote it. Let's see. I guess spiritual warfare would be praying to God to defeat one's enemies. No, I don't think so. I'd rather you pray to God than drop a 2,000-pound bomb, Anyway, folks, please read that entire article. I'm going to drop it. Actually, it's going to be in the blog for this show, but I'll drop it in the chat anyhow. Media is I just dropped it in the chat. Anyhow, folks, we are coming up on the close, and I got to get out a tad bit early. So let's go ahead and ask for go ahead and work with our ask. First of all, we definitely need your support. I would love all who have the wherewithal to buy KPFT a coffee a day. A coffee a month. And I said KPFT, I really mean Politics Done Right. And how can you do that? You can say, because you're doing important work, I'm going to do one or more of several things. What I'm going to do here is give the options to support the program. And I have a lot of supporters in here already. We need a hell of a lot more. So please consider becoming a part of the PDR posse. The first link that I'm going to give you is all the work that we do. If you go to that link, you'll see all the social media platforms we're on. That is center of Politics Done Right, politicsdoneright.com/info. But if you want to find all the different ways in which you can support us, you can go to politicsdoneright.com/support. But I'm asking you personally to consider becoming a Patreon. And how do you do that? You go to politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. But let's go one step further. Anybody who signs up as a patron get access to all of my current books and subsequent books online. You don't have to buy the books. You can get it online. And the books are pretty good. Not just me saying that. Okay? You can also get my books if you just want to go out and buy my books. You can go ahead and get the books at politicsdoneright.com/books. politicsdoneright.com/books. Alternatively, you can get our newsletter. I'm asking, look, the newsletter has, let me go ahead and pull this up here just to tell you about the newsletter. My newsletter has, come on, newsletter. My newsletter has 9,680 followers. 9,680 followers on the newsletter. Of those, 91 are currently paid subscribers. And it's very inexpensive to subscribe. And I can see the readership, and the newsletter is a newsletter that gets read. I'm asking those who have the wherewithal to do so, whether you are a current subscriber or not, to consider becoming a paid subscriber of the newsletter. It's like just getting us a coffee a month. And if you are supporting us some other way, an extra coffee to make sure that we can get this job done, I think is worth it. I know it's worth it, because we're doing some important work here. And to do that, just go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Consider becoming a paid subscriber. You'll feel a lot better knowing that we are working together to get stuff done. I'm heading off to Baltimore in July for the Netrooks convention. It's going to be one of those fast-paced ones, I understand. So let's go ahead and keep Politics Done Right well-funded. We're not right now. We're still bleeding. But we'd love for those. There's so many people who love all that we're doing. So please go ahead and consider doing that. Bruce says, I'm buying a whole pot. What kind of pot is that? What do you mean by a whole pot? I'm buying a whole pot. Like, I'm kidding. I just kidding. Anyway, look, folks, but seriously now, I would appreciate to support this program the way, I see other programs out there that they don't care much about accuracy of the information they give. They don't care that much. Oh, of coffee. Oh, I love that, man. Thank you, bro. I love that, Bruce. Thank you. I don't think Bruce is a great supporter of this program in many, many ways. Not only the Politics Done Right here, the one that funds me, but the Politics Done Right that funds KPFT. Bruce is a great supporter all around. He puts his money where his mouth is, and he makes sure to keep. And we have several of those in here. Norman Reynolds is another one. He's in here as well. Lee Grant does this one here, etc. So yeah. So folks, look, you're right. This new studio is not smoke tight. No, it's not. So folks, it's very important. It's very important to support programs like this. This is how we win elections. It's not only Politics Done Right, but it's the many other types of programs like this throughout the country that has their sphere of influence that's making a difference. So please, I just gave several ways to support the program. Please do so. The two best ways are through Patreon, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Again, Patreon, or become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. I repeat, become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. Love all of you. I thank you so kindly for being here with me. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.